are all these shaders? Because it's compiling every shader in the entire game. Alright, so here we go. We're just going to start straight into the Royal Menagerie. People who have already read it. No. The kobold crept down the dimly lit corridor. He pressed up against the wood-paneled wall, skulking from shadow to shadow. Faint vibrations rolled through him, leaving his bones buzzing. Kobold gritted his sharp teeth, scrunching his muzzle. He hated the ship's constant rattling, and the way it left his scaly hide tingling under his body armor. The sooner this mission was over, he thought with a lash of his tail, the sooner he'd be back on solid ground. Moss! His ear shard crackled with the mutt's gruff voice. Moss, is your scaly ass in position or what? Kobold growled. I ain't answering to Moss. You just did, dipshit. Barking Noel laughter made him wince. You ready or not? It's Maz. Maz flicked his tail, hissing. You know it's Maz, and I ain't answering until you say it right. Are you in position, Maz? The Noel drew out his name with an exaggerated growl. Maz clicked his teeth in satisfaction. It's better. No, not yet. Kobold paused at an intersection, peeking around the corner. Another empty hall greeted him. Dark wood paneling stretched on for ages, interspersed with red-painted steam pipes and gold-painted doors. Long brass railings spanned the walls on either side. Lights and glass fixtures hung from the ceiling, but only a few were illuminated. Deep gloom filled the areas between the faintly buzzing bulbs. The ship was still experimental. Maz doubted it was fully operational yet. Wait a minute, Maz said. We just split up. How the hell are you in position already? I ain't, the Noel laughed again. But this ain't about me, Moss. You're always the last one. Go fuck another cactus, Rockla. Oh, shut the hell up. Rockla growled, and Maz imagined him bearing fangs at the air. One time I fucked a cactus? Maz moved into the intersection and glancing in an open door. We know! Rockla snarled, increasingly frustrated. Got a thorn in my dog balls? Maz laughed, hurrying on after clearing another empty room. We know! I don't have dog balls! Rockla's voice exploded through the ear shard. I'm a Knoll! A Knoll! And now the whole ship knows it. Maz licked his muzzle. You know, if we get caught, Rockla paid him little heed. And I didn't fuck no cactus! She threw it at me and... When the Knoll trailed off, Maz flattened his ears. Got company. Tried to warn you. Maz hunkered down behind a trio of oversized steam pipes erupting from the wall. Take them out quietly. I'm almost at the... A loud brassy alarm bell rang out across the ship. Maz sighed, his shoulders sagging. Somehow, the stupid Knoll always screwed things up. Maz swiftly unbuttoned the holsters at his hips and drew twin revolvers. It was time for him to clean up Rockla's mess, as usual. He quickly flicked his cylinders open, checked his cartridges, then snapped them shut. Maz lifted his weapons and pressed each gun barrel to his muzzle in a quick good luck kiss. Time to go to work, boys! Just ahead of him, doors burst open. Heavily armed guards poured into the hallway. Maz sprang out of hiding, opening fire. His bullets all struck home, exploding through skulls. Objection! Rockla, seated at one end of a long rectangular table, raised his hand. That's not how it happened. Yes, it is. Maz crossed his arms over his chest, glaring at the large brown-furred Knoll. That's exactly how it happened. Objection! Rockla slapped his black-spotted hand against the table. He's just trying to make himself look like a badass. Maz rocked back in his elevated kobold chair, a grin on his muzzle. Well, I am a badass, so mission accomplished. He rubbed his hands. Okay, I think we're done here. Maz stood up. See everyone next wet work. Sit the fuck back down, kobold. The command came from an increasingly irritated human woman at the far end of the table. Now. The woman, rather insultingly codenamed the veterinarian, turned her smoldering glare to Rockla. And you. Stop objecting. You're not on trial. Well... The Knoll flattened his ears, waving at the kobold. I object to him. In general, I mean. The vet rubbed her forehead. Trust me, Knoll, we all do. Nonsense, the kobold leaned back. I'm a beloved folk figure. The woman ignored him, still focused on the Knoll. So, how did it really happen? For one thing, Rockla said, leaning forward, I wasn't the one who got us caught. A sneer twisted up his canine-like muzzle. Moss was. Maz bristled up his little frills, hissing. Stop calling me... He trailed off when the veterinarian held her hand up for silence. And he wasn't sneaking through no hallway, either. Rockla smirked at the kobold. He was crawling through a duct. Knoll tilted his head, his ears perked. Right, Maz? Maz sighed. All right, fine, but I'm the one who's telling this story, not the dog. Rockla shrugged. Then tell it right. Fine, fine. Maz leaned his head back, staring up at the white tiled ceiling. I was in the duct, like he said, but not by choice. Let's check our progress. Hey, 44%. 45%. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. Alright, Kobold. Rockless set the metallic grating down on the floor. This duct ought to take you all the way there. Shortly after successfully infiltrating the ship, the Gnoll and Kobold stood in a small, empty atrium. Both were dressed muzzle to tail in dark, custom-tailored body armor and other gear. Guns and knives were strapped across them both, with the Gnoll also carrying a heavy scattergun across his back. Each had extra ammunition, as well as other equipment and first aid. Neither bore any kind of insignia or markings, aside from a single stylized dragon skull adorning each shoulder. I ain't climbing into no duct! Maz backed away from the much larger Gnoll, snarling, "It's filthy in there! It's a brand new ship!" Gnoll appeared in the opening, near the ceiling. "There's barely even any dust in there." Maz bared his fangs. "I ain't doing it! Duct crawling is rat work, so send the rat!" Gnoll only snorted, switching his bushy tail. "The rat's got his own shit to do. And you know he hates it when we call him that. And I hate it when you call me Moss, but that never stopped you." He rested a hand on a revolver's grip. "I ain't getting in no duct, and that's that. I'm frontline infantry now, got it?" "Only because you're so short they'd shoot right over you." Rocco thrust a finger toward the open vent, body armor creeping. "Just get in the damn duct." Maz hissed. "Make me!" Rocco shrugged, swiftly advancing on the smaller creature. "Okay." "Wait!" Maz held his hands up, backing away. "Very poor choice of words. What I meant was, Kobold's eyes darted around, seeking an easy escape. Oh, hey, look at that! An unguarded hallway. I'll just slip down there." He spun around and hurried towards the adjoining corridor. Rockla was faster. He surged after the kobold and snatched him up under his arms. Rockla hoisted the little lizard off his feet, barking laughter. "Time for your mission, little baby!" Maz wriggled and struggled, kicking his booted feet in the air, tail thrashing. "Let me go, you ugly mutt! Just because I'm smaller than you don't mean you can carry me around like a fucking doll!" "I don't know, you are about doll-sized." Rockla carried Maz back towards the open duct. He lifted him to the opening, then forcefully shoved him inside. "Now get to work!" Maz grunted as he was jammed into the cramped metallic confines. This must be what a dragon's sex toy feels like." "Exactly!" Rockla laughed as he put a large hand against the base of the kobold's tail. "So get up in there and do your job!" He shoved Maz further into the duct, causing him to flop forward and bang his chin. "Ow!" Maz winced, rubbing his aching jaw. "I'm gonna slap that giggle out of your mouth when I get out of here." "Anytime you want, Moss." Rockla set the grate back in place, turning the latches. "Remember, stay out of sight until you can visibly confirm." Yeah, Moss shook himself, rattling the duct. "I remember the damn mission." Rockla growled at him from behind the grating. "Stay quiet in there. Put your damn ear cuff on." Moss sighed, popping open one of his cargo pockets. He pulled out the miniature squawk box kept inside and strapped a padded cuff across his head. The band pressed uncomfortably against the spiny frills. "I hate this stupid thing. It'd be so much cooler if we just had a tiny shard to put in here, like the dragon's claw." "Just get going." Rockla stepped away from the duct, drawing his sidearm. "The others are going to be in position and waiting for us." "Yeah, well," Maz crawled a few paces. "I'm still waiting for you to kiss my scaly ass." Alright, let's see how far along we are. Ooh, 61! Hopefully the story is entertaining you in the meantime. If it is, you can thank Resolute. 8% away. We got more than that to go. We got 62 on my screen. Now 7% away. 7% away. I'm saying 63%. Thankies, Giffen. Yee. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there. Well, I won't say nice because it's not nice yet, and we're gonna miss it probably, but that's okay. All right, back to the story, I guess. Moss crept onwards, inching his way through the ship's ductwork. Though it was quite dark inside, kobolds were blessed with excellent night vision. The scant light spilling through the occasional vent was more than enough to guide his passage. Could have been worse, Moss thought. At least it was relatively clean inside by duct standards. It wasn't too dusty, and best he could tell, he wasn't getting too slathered in grease. Now and then, the metal tube creaked and groaned around him. The kobold froze with each ominous noise, hoping the whole thing wasn't about to collapse and dump him on his tail. After the next such pause, he licked his muzzle and sniffed the air. So far, there was no sign of anything toxic. According to the blueprints they'd stolen, this duct was designed to pump fresh air through the length of the ship. Considering this was only a test voyage conducted by a skeleton crew, who knew what kind of mishap might happen? It would be just Maz's luck to choke to death on toxic engine fumes leaking into the wrong system. Each time Maz passed the vent, he peered through it to orient himself. There was something eerie about seeing so many empty, poorly lit hallways with so many lights turned out. Normally a ship like this should be buzzing with soldiers and crewmen alike. Instead, it was as if the whole vessel was dead, its only passenger silence. At least it made for an easier mission. More often than not, they barely made it out with all their extremities intact. In the case of at least one former member, not even that. Sneaking aboard a nearly empty ship and facing only minimal resistance made for pleasant respite from the norm. Hell, if they made it through this with ammo to spare and no one bleeding, it would be damn near a vacation. Then again, if things were going to be that easy, Maz wasn't sure they would have sent the Menagerie. The Royal Menagerie, that was what they were called. A tightly knit group, it should be, of so-called misfit monsters, bound together in service to a singular kingdom. Being monsters made them disposable and deniable. If they were ever caught, the kingdom could easily deny all knowledge of the Menagerie and its activities. They worked in secret, undertaking dangerous and dirty operations the average citizen would never even know happened, from assassinations to abductions to high-value target acquisition and everything in between. If there was wet work to be done, summon the Menagerie. The group's membership was often fluid and not entirely voluntary, but at its heart there was Maz, the leader and most valuable member. Maz was a combatant I love how... breaking character, obviously, but I love the way Maz is just constantly looking to twist the story to make himself look better. Maz was a combatant extraordinaire, as quick with his pistols as he was with his knives. Then there was Rockla, the Gnoll. Rockla was the brawler of the group and also the tactician. Though Gnoll and Kobold were often at each other's throats, when the shit exploded from the dragon, they'd always have each other's backs. Then there was... Let me stop you right there. The veterinarian held her hands up, staring at the small, dark green kobold. Markings of bronze and crimson dappled his head and forearms. First, please never say shit exploded from the dragon ever again. I couldn't scrub that image with my brain with a wire brush. She groaned, pinching the bridge of her nose. Second, you're not the damn leader. And third, what the hell are you doing? What do you mean? Moss traced a little circle on the table with a dull claw tip. The vet folded her arms, narrowing her eyes. Though she'd been the Menagerie's handler for years, somehow they still found new ways to irritate the hell out of her. 3 years. 3 years? 6 years, lizard. I changed, here's where a place, so you can tell this is a rough draft, because here's a place where originally I started with 3 years, and then I changed it to 6, so let's just say 6. I'm not going to bother editing anything right now. 6 years, lizard. Boss scratched his muzzle. Till what? 6 years since I saved you idiots from the damn gallows. The vet slapped the table. I know who the fuck you are. You know that I know, so why the hell are you introducing yourselves to me? Maz licked his snout, glancing at his hands. His little black-spined frills drooped. Just trying to set the scene. A story's gotta have... Just skip to the good part. I don't want to be here all night. All right, Maj flashed her a grin, all fangs and cobalt smugness. You mean when I got laid? You did not get laid, Rockla snarled at him, pinning his ears. After a moment, the Gnoll's anger faded and he sat back grumbling. He rubbed the thicker ruff of dark fur on the back of his neck. We never get laid. Speak for yourself, dog balls. Maz curled his tail, idly inspecting his drab green scales and bronze stripes. I gotta fend him off with a stick. If by them, Rockla said, folding his arms, you mean your own hands, then yeah, I'd believe that. The veterinarian smirked. The way you two argue, everyone assumes you fuck already. Moss tossed his head, clacked his teeth. He couldn't handle me. Rockla snorted at him. I'd tear you in half, Moss. Could you beasties do me a favor and flirt on your own time? The vet glared at each of them in turn before gesturing for Moss to continue. Just skip to when things went south. Right, Moss rubbed his scaly hands. So there Rockla was, totally naked. All of us were laughing at him because it was so small. Rockla grabbed himself. Why don't you choke on it, you tiny newt? Enough! The vet shot to her feet, jabbing a finger at each of them. Both of you, enough! Keep it up and you're going to be scrubbing out the dragon's latrine with your damn hands. Now, she turned to the kobold, silently glowering until Maz was squirming in his seat. Maz, tell me how everything went to shit. "91, we're almost there. From being nice. Yeah, I figured that. It's great. Can't wait to read it fully. Thank you. My thanks to Giffen as well. Just like Crack in the Christmas stories? Yeah, pretty much. Maz gnashed his teeth, glaring at the grating that wasn't supposed to be there. According to the stolen blueprints, the entire ventilation system was accessible to anyone kobold-sized. Instead, a sturdy metal grate now barred his way forward, just short of his destination. Moss had all manner of tools and thieving gear with him, but the latches and the screws were only accessible from the other side. Even if the kobold could fit his hand through the opening, he doubted he could contort his wrists enough to turn the screws. Moss. His ear cuff crackled with Rockla's obnoxious voice. You in position or what? Not quite. Given the more pressing issue, the kobold decided against protesting the unwanted nickname for now. He kept his voice to a whisper. Got a problem. There's, Moss, you ready or not? A new voice buzzed across the staticky earpiece. It belonged to Noma and Earthdin, and the second smallest member of the Menagerie. Moss growled under his breath. No, Rat, I was just saying, don't call me Rat, Noma said, snarling. Earthdin were little larger than kobolds. With their appearance, humans often compared unfavorably to a cross between a fox and a rat. You know I hate that, and you know I hate being called Moss. Moss hissed into his mouthpiece. Another new voice piped in. Can we all just agree that we hate each other? This time it was Velk, a lanky Vachok. Like kobolds, the Vachok were akin to bipedal lizards. Only where kobolds were much shorter than humans, Vachok were often taller than the world's dominant race. Just tell us if you're in position. Over. I'm trying, and say over when you're done speaking. Over. Maz's tail tip twitched in growing irritation. Why don't you get in position to suck my balls? Over. Because you're a kobold, Velk snorted nonchalant. I'm not sure I could find anything that small. Over. Maz's smirk twisted into a snarl. Well, at least I got people interested in fighting mine. Getting kicked by pissed-off women doesn't count, Velk laughed, and you forgot to say over. Fuck you and fuck your over. Rocklow's voice broke in. Hey, dipshits, can we fucking focus? I don't know about the rest of you, but I am in position. There's a few more guards outside the bridge than we expected, but nothing I can't handle. Velk, Noma, in position? In position. Smugness faded from Velk's voice. Got a few more guards outside the engine room, too. Weird uniforms. Over. Moss scrunched his muzzle. His frills twitched uncomfortably against the ear cuff strap. Yeah, I got unexpected guards outside comms, too. Anyone else notice that doors are too big? All doors are too big for you, kobold. Rocklow paused, and his voice tightened ever so slightly, but yeah, I noticed. They're bigger than usual, especially for a ship. Didn't notice that in the blueprints. Me either. Moz wiggled back down the duct toward a vent. So, we got extra guards, weirdly big doors, and there's a new grate in my way? Getting kinda suspicious. Rocklow growled, guess that explains why they sent us. Moz licked his muzzle, grimacing. We never get normal missions where we get laid. Moss, I'm not sure you understand what a normal mission is. How many guards you got? Over. The kobold glanced through the nearby vent, peering down into the hall. A trio of humans with pistols at their hips and rifles across their backs stood before the doorway that led to the communications room. Each wore a slate gray and dark blue uniform, remarkable mostly for how unremarkable it was. No emblems, no flags, no marks of rank, no identifiable insignia of any kind. They'd expected a mostly civilian skeleton crew with a few marked guards from a sponsoring nation, but instead they got... They're ripping us off! Moss snapped his teeth. They're stealing our cool, unmarked, full deniability shtick! That's what you're worried about? Rocco gave a heavy sigh over the radio. How many guards, Moz? I count 3. That's it? Frustration crept into Rocco's voice. I thought you said you had a problem. Please tell me you're not afraid of 3 guards. Nah, that ain't the problem. Moz grunted, shifting his weight inside the duct. His right leg and tail tingled uncomfortably. Both were starting to fall asleep in the cramped confines. I got a grate in the way. The problem is... Moz trailed off when a door opened and a 4th human entered. This one was wearing a heavy raincoat. Water sloshed down it in beaded rivulets. He must have been returning from the outer deck patrol, Moz thought. The soaked guard shook his hood off, spraying droplets. As he approached the others, he pulled his hood back. Gods damn it, he said, rubbing his arms. It's colder than a kobold's cock out there. Moz hissed under his breath. My cock is not cold. Say again? Velk sounded confused. You're cutting out, Moss. Did you just say the problem is your cock is cold? Forgot about I love this story. Over. No! Moss put a gloved hand over his muzzle, groaning. I said my cock is not cold. Rocklow snorted. Oh good, I'm so happy for you. Thanks for letting us know. We were all real worried about the temperature of your dick. Not mine. Kobolds in general. Moss thumped his fist against the duct. People always say it's colder than a kobold's cock, and it pisses me off. We're not cold-blooded, damn it. We're... Did you just hear that? The guard in the raincoat pulled his rifle free. There's something in that air duct. Oh, fuck. Quietly as he could, Moz eased away from the vent. Gonna need a second here. Moz crept away from the encroaching guard best he could. Even for a kobold, it was a tight fit, and crawling backwards was not a natural motion. Each time Moz's armored belly scraped the metal a little too loudly, every time his tail bumped its confines, his heart skipped a beat. Any second now, and all 4 guards were going to rake the duct with gunfire, just to be sure. Ahead of him, the duct crumpled audibly as the lead guard poked it with his rifle barrel. Obvious Die Hard reference, if anyone was wondering, yes. Great movie. Moz grit his teeth, trying to creep back faster. His frills ached, struggling to stand at alarmed attention even when his ear band pinned them down. As the kobold wriggled further away, he worked an arm down alongside him, unbuttoning his holster. The floor ahead of him rose again when the guard prodded another section, testing for unexpected weight. The kobold kept squirming back, hoping his movements weren't creating the same sort of visible distortion in the thin metal. At this rate, the guard would reach him another few breaths. There was no way he could move any faster and maintain relative silence. He was just going to have to shoot the guard before the guard shot him. Moz dropped his other arm down to unbutton his other holster. He'd have to shoot blind, based on where the rifle barrel pressed against the ductwork. Moz slowly eased his pistols free, clawed fingers tight around both grips. It's probably nothing. The other guard's voice joined the first. This ship's ventilation system is an afterthought at best. With the way this shit's cobbled together, we're just lucky the duct hasn't collapsed on us yet. Yeah, you're probably right. The floor head of Moz buckled inwards one last time before the guard's voice grew slightly more distant. Ready to get dried off anyway. Moz breathed a sigh of relief. He eased one of his pistols back into his holster, then whispered into his mouthpiece, "Okay, I think we're good here." And then the duct collapsed. The kobold gave a startled shriek as everything gave way beneath him. His belly lurched into his throat, and for a heartbeat, he was falling. Moz tried to twist himself in the air, wanting to land on his feet and pop up firing. The fall was over as soon as it began, and he only reoriented himself halfway around. The kobold struck the ground hard in his rump and tail, sending a jolt of pain all the way up his sides. "Ow!" Moz cried out, grabbing the base of his tail with his free hand. "My ass!" "Ah!" One of the guards cried out as broken ductwork struck him. He stumbled away, clutching his head. "What the fuck?" Down the hall, another guard gaped at Moz, his jaw hanging out. "Is that a kobold?" His companions stared the same way. "Is it wearing body armor?" Hey boys, which way to the shitter?" "I knew it!" The guard in the rain slicker shouldered his rifle. "Freeze, you little fucker! Intruder, sound the alarm!" The two men near the door snapped into action. One of them pounded on it 3 times in quick succession. "Alarm! Alarm!" Nearby, the man holding his bloodied head groaned, reaching for a sidearm. "Just shoot that dirty little monster!" Well, so much for the easy way, Moz thought. Granted, in one hand, Moz was still holding his ass, but in the other hand, Moz was holding a gun. In a single smooth and possibly fast motion, Moz lifted his pistol and fired at the first man taking aim. The bullet erupted through the skull of the guard in the raincoat in a spray of blood and gore. In the tight corridor, the gunshot's report was like a slap across the ear hole, left his whole head ringing. Moz sprang forward, using the dead man's crumbling body for cover as the other 3 opened fire at him. Crack after crack ran out, several bullets punched through the body. One tore through the man's belly, spraying Moz with something foul. None of the shots struck the kobold. With a grunt of effort, he shoved the body forward, then pivoted around it, whirling towards the one who'd called him a monster. The kobold fired twice, striking the human in the chest and shoulder. He cried out, stumbled back, and tried to level off at Moz. Moz darted forward, throwing his free arm up to knock the human's hand aside just in time. A bullet smashed into the floor near the other guard's feet. Moz spun around, twisting behind the mortally wounded gunman. At the same time, he drew his second pistol, firing both. He struck one of the guards in the thigh and just missed the other. Somewhere in the background, alarm bells rang. Moz scarcely noticed them over the persistent ringing in his ears. He dove behind a collection of crimson-painted pipes as the remaining guards opened fire. Bullets struck metal with a horrific, squealing clang. Steam erupted from fresh holes, and Moz ducked down, away from the scalding vapor. "Moz?" Rockland's voice came over the ear. I just read the next line. Moz could barely make it out. The fact he used his real name meant that Noel realized things were going bad. "Moz, what's happening?" Moz wanted to say something calm, collected, and impressive. Something about taking care of a little problem. Instead, when another bullet slammed into the steam pipes, Moz shouted something a little less impressive. "I fell on my ass!" That's probably where we should stop. "I fell on my ass!" I think we're done with our... yeah, we're all done compiling for now. I hope everyone enjoyed that Storytime break. Thank you for redeeming Storytime, Resolute. I fell on my ass. To be continued. That's correct.